Yeah, I mean, she sometimes she writes the minutes.
Right, and that's what you here, take the, I said, yeah, because I'll just go with it. That's what's going to be best since I can't see it and see that. Do you have something? Yeah. You know what?
Mayor Todd Pulse presiding. Please remove all hats, turn off cell phones and papers off, please. Thank you.
All right, we'll come to order. If you would remain standing, we're going to have our prayer and pledge. We'll have prayer. Commissioner Gillum, would you please lead us in prayer?
Everyone bow your head. Dear Heavenly Father, thanks so much for this wonderful day, Lord. Lord, thank you for this commission and what it means to this county, Lord. I wish you'd ask a special blessing on each and every one of us here tonight, that when we go over the budget, we'll have sharp minds, make the best decisions for the county, Lord. Lord, bring us some comfort here in this heat, Lord. I know you will forgive us where we fail you each and every day. In your name I pray. Amen.
All right, please remain standing. Commissioner Pope, would you please lead us in the pledge?
Please, face the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America
DeBerry. Here. Gillum.
Here.
Grantham.
Here.
Hensley.
Here.
Jenkins.
Here.
Kenmore. Lake.
Here.
Lanier.
Here.
Miller.
Here.
Pope.
Here.
Sane. Vickers.
Here.
Weems.
Here.
Wright.
Here.
All right, thank you, ma'am. All right, at this time, now, we're gonna move into our public forum. We did have two that signed up, for the items that will be on the agenda tonight, and that is Mr. Gary Bearclaw. Yes, Gary. Apologize, didn't see you back there, Gary.
Hi. I'll make this quick. I've already talked to y'all about this before. It has to do about the settlement of this lawsuit. I know, I see the head shaking, and I got all that. There is a vast amount of disagreement about whether or not this is winnable. I hope y'all are right, but in case you're not, how bad is it gonna be if it doesn't go your way? This is a serious situation for the finances of this county. I would highly recommend that y'all go ahead and settle this. Now, people say that we only owe people so much. Well, that's fine. And they say, well, the attorneys, well, I'm sorry he's not here, are taking care of it for us. Well, the attorneys are business people just like everybody else. They're in it for what they can get out of it. If you think about it, if they could have settled this court case 2 or 3 months from now, their gravy wagon would be open. But if they have split, since it's been split up, and now it can go for a year, or 2 years, 3 years, that simply means that the spigot is turned on to us to continue to pay attorneys that don't even live in this county. I would encourage y'all, take a serious look, get this thing behind us, have a fixed number, and get on with life. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bearclaw. All right, we have Mr. Brandon Murphy.
Good evening, Mayor and Commission. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I think the opinions of the citizens of Hardeman County are important and they are necessary. I had this prepared last month. To be honest, I chickened out, but after talking to several people about this, they pushed me to do this. They thought it was worth saying. So I want you to picture this with me. You're driving down the road. You see someone lying there. They're in critical condition. They're bleeding profusely. What do? Do you keep driving? Do you stop to check on them? Do you leave them for someone else to worry about? Do you call 911? Or do you do everything you can to save that person and to stop the bleed? I would hope your response would be you would save the person and you would stop the bleed. In my mind, Hardeman County's current situation with the pending FLSA lawsuit is just like the scenario I explained. We are in critical condition, our government and financial position, and we are bleeding profusely. What are you doing to stop the bleed? What are you doing to help? Are we actively trying to resolve this issue, or are we sitting here waiting for someone to come in and rescue us or tell us exactly what to do? All while the attorney fees and legal fees continue to build, and that is the bleed that continues to increase. Hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars have been or will be wasted to continue to fight this when you all know that these people are owed money. If someone owes you $100 and you know, or if you owed someone $100 and you knew that you owed it to them, would you spend $300 to fight paying them $100? I wouldn't think you would do that personally with your own money. So at what point do we stop the bleed? At what point do we agree to disagree and stop the continuation of this lawsuit that should have been settled long ago? Regardless, here we are. Sure, we may or may not owe these people exactly what they are asking for. But when and if this ever goes to court, and the judge and jury makes a demand that I expect will be larger than any settlement offer you have seen to date, what are we going to do? Who will pay for the bleed? Who will suffer the consequences for this being drug out? I'll tell you, it's the same people that were named in the April meeting. Hardeman County taxpayers, our brothers, mothers, fathers, aunts, uncles, all of us. So for the sake of Hardeman County, our citizens, and our future, stop the bleed, settle the case, and get it behind us, because the only ones benefiting are the attorneys. Thank you.
All right, now we'll move into, did everyone, that would conclude our public forum. There was only 2 that signed up. And I would,
Do you mind if I say a word?
come on
Thank you, Todd.
up. If you wouldn't mind, yeah, please.
Yes, sir.
All right.
You're doing that, man.
State your name for the record, please.
Yes, sir. My name is Caleb Weiss. I live in Tiverton. I didn't plan on doing this. It worked out, especially since we're talking about lawsuits and the attorney is not here, so this is perfect. I understand that y'all are in a very tough position when it comes to these lawsuits. I have a consulting firm, and my consulting firm actually specializes in dealing with these exact situations that you are in. My firm goes into companies and we help cut costs, right? This is a tough decision. I'm not here to tell you how to make the decision when it comes to the lawsuit, but we all know at the end of the lawsuit, there's gonna be a bill to pay. There's gonna be a really big bill to pay. I would just advise that before you start paying people, before you start paying lawyers, go back and have a discussion with them. Get some outside counsel, get some outside expertise. There's companies, there's other consultants other than me that do this for a living. My firm worked with one of the largest law firms in the United States of America, White & Case, and we negotiated a $100 million medical trial that ended up going to court, and we negotiated with White & Case. We helped our biomedical company that was our client, and we negotiated with White & Case in order to knock down that significant legal bill that they had incurred over this medical trial. So I would just advise you, don't miss the opportunity, or don't miss this chance to negotiate your lawyer bills. There's always an opportunity to negotiate and knock that cost down. You're gonna have the bill, just don't miss that opportunity. And if you want some outside counsel, I would love to be that outside counsel. I would love to do my part as a citizen of this county to help y'all knock that bill down and help cut the costs of what this is gonna do to our county. So if you're interested, give me a shout, y'all know where to find me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's going to conclude our public forum, and we will move into the approval of the minutes from last month's meeting. All the commissioners have a chance to review the minutes from last month. Any questions on the minutes?
Motion to approve. Second.
We've got a first and a second on the floor to approve the minutes from last month. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. Motion passes. All right. And we have notaries here. Y'all have that in front of you.
Approve it, Reed. Second.
Motion been made and seconded. We approve the notaries. Any discussion on those, please? Seeing none, all those in favor of approval, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. All right, notaries have been approved. Now let's move into county officials, departments and committees. Ms. Lilly? Okay, yeah. Ms. Lilly has a resolution here she wants to talk to the commission about. Welcome, Ms. Lilly.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is just a resolution that would allow us to collect an additional $2 fee on electronic data processing documents that are recorded electronically, which makes up about, as of today, I roughly ran the numbers as late this afternoon as I could, which amounts up to about 26% of the filings. What I love the most is most filings are done in person. Over half of the filings they don't think what's in person. So this would only affect about a little more than a fourth of the documents that we take in. And of course, it'll just help generate a little funds for computer, additional things for computerization and things like that. It's pretty cut and dry, as you can see. There was, we just have to have this passed by 2/3 vote by the legislative body. We started e-filing in 2014. Didn't see in the beginning a lot of people taking advantage of that, but as time has gone on, and especially after COVID, it really has increased a lot. And so this, they set up the legislature did where we could collect this additional $2. And I know you think, well, that's more money, but again, it's only about 25%, a little greater than 25% of the recordings we file. And they love people, it's done electronically from out of town. So what they can do, it's quicker, it's faster, it's more efficient. They can get their documents, they shoot them to us, we check them, something's wrong, we shoot it right back, they can get it fixed. And not to take away from any other type of delivery, FedEx, UPS. For that price, $2 is cheap for what a FedEx package would cost you or UPS. So we have a lot of out-of-town people that take advantage of this, and it's been a really good thing. But I just have to have a 2/3 majority vote for it to take effect, and it'll take effect July 1. And it's just, and I want to say too, again, asking for more money, which ultimately it affects the citizens. I'm not saying that, but it doesn't. But the last fee increase we had was in 2001, and it was $1 per page on the recording charges. So it's time, but anyway.
You hadn't had an increase in 23 years?
2001 was the last recording increase we had, so.
Julie, I got a question.
Sure.
Did this come from Nashville, or
Mhm.
y'all, so it's been vetted?
Oh,
completely,
yes,
we're
and-
not
yes.
endangering ourselves?
Yes, oh, no,
Okay.
absolutely, I didn't, of course, you all have to get the resolution number and all that, so I just kind of gave Todd the blank document. Oh, yeah, this has been, passed, TCA code and all, it's good.
Yeah.
And some of the surrounding counties have already taken advantage of it, like Hardeman. And I will say, Hardeman County was one of the very first in West Tennessee before anybody to start filing. But I was at a meeting several years prior to that. A lot of the larger counties were doing that, and I came back and I told our girls, I said, we might as well get ready, it's coming down the pipe. And so I'm proud that we've been able to do it, but as you all know, the mail, and I'm not hating on anybody with mail, but we do not, this is another alternative other than the delivery, UPS or FedEx, the electronic recording, and so over time, it's really increased more and more, the electronic recording, and the mail is decreasing, and people are taking advantage of these other ways to file. And like I said, I'm tickled, the majority still people come in, and we like that, because again, we can help people if something is wrong, and help them get it straight, but anyway. And I'll just give you one scenario. I had a attorney call me, who practices in Jackson, and he mailed documents to another county. And he called me and he asked me, was there anything the Registrars Association could do to get everyone to file electronically? Because he had sent a package to another county by mail, something was wrong with it, they sent it back, and it was like 2 weeks, and they're on a time thing too, time is of the essence in recording. And so, but that is not required to do, even though most counties are doing it now. But it's a great thing, so.
Yeah, it's a secure document.
Right, and it's, like I said, it's not gonna amount to a ton of money, but it's gonna, every little bit helps. Nothing has gone down for sure, so.
Absolutely.
Anybody else have any questions?
All right, if there's no
We need to
questions.
pass a resolution.
We do, we need to, I need a motion to accept and pass this resolution.
I made the motion that we pass a resolution, that has been given back as submitted from the legislator to, secure the $2 increase.
All right, motion has been made to accept the resolution and second. It's a second by Commissioner Miller, if you would. All right, any discussion on the motion? All right, seeing none. Madam Clerk, we need a roll call on that, please. Since Eddie is adding back to $2 figure. All right, we'll have a roll call vote on that, please, please.
Bell,
Yes.
Buffer,
Yes.
DeVere. Yes. Gillum,
Yes.
Grantham,
Yes.
Hensley,
Yes.
Jenkins,
Yes.
Blake,
Yes.
Lanier,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Hope,
Yes.
Sane,
Yes.
Vickers,
Yes.
Weems,
Yes.
Wright.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Lydia. All right, Mr. Tony, you have, you've got surplus you need us to check on, please?
So I sent pictures and a listing.
We need a motion, just to add those back into the surplus. You got a printer? Yeah.
Have a whole lot of inventory that needs to be turned into surplus, yes.
All right, is
I
everybody
make a
have?
motion, we accept these items as surplus.
Okay. Is there a second on that?
Second.
Motion been made and seconded to accept these items as surplus inventory from, Tony Griggs' office. Any discussion on that? I don't believe we need a roll call. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Seeing none, passes. Thank you, Mr. Tony. All right, Casey, would you please come up? Glad to see you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I've got two things on the agenda. I've got a budget amendment for removing money from 6,600 204 state retirement and putting it into retirement contributions. It's an audit fee adjustment to where we have to start counting annual time now for retirement. So this is to fix Jude West, which is my assistant. Line item, so I'm asking for approval on that, to do a budget, approve the budget amendment to move that money. We'll get that adjustment fixed. I would like to get it clean.
I have a question.
Okay.
You said to, move annual time to state?
Well, no, the state retirement, they're using annual time, usually annual time, not over sick time. Now with the state saying there's any unused annual time, we pay it out whenever the person quits,
Right.
things like that. But the state says you have to keep up with it now for retirement purposes, so we had to go back and adjust it because the comptroller said that, hey, you gotta
So
start.
what were you all doing it first?
We were just paying it, yeah, they used it and it rolled over, if they get 240 hours, and annual time it maxed out, and it rolled over to their sick time.
Okay.
Which you count the state, sick time as for towards retirement. Now they want to start doing annual time too, they said you gotta keep up with it too, so.
Right, okay.
So we're gonna start moving forward, doing everybody's that way, but this is, we're getting some of the ones that are eligible for retirement first, in case they do decide to retire.
You need a motion on there right
Yes,
now?
yes,
Okay, I make the motion that you,
approve the budget.
can proceed to pass.
Second. Motion been made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion, please? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, do your roll call, please. If you would, please, continue. Bell?
Hale,
Yes.
Clifford,
Yes.
G-Beard. Yes. Gillum,
Yes.
Grantham,
Yes.
Hensley,
Yes.
Jenkins,
Yes.
Lanier, I'm sorry, Blake,
Yes.
Lanier,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Pope,
Yes.
Sane,
Yes.
Vickers,
Yes.
Wing,
Yes.
Wright.
Thank you, guys. The second thing I have is our yearly bids. I don't need a motion to approve these, but this is the bids that we do every year for our rock, gravel, all the materials we stockpile and use at the highway department. Do a yearly bid on it so we can order it with the phone or whatever, anytime throughout the year, most of the stuff. The whole thing, our board has already went through and approved and finalized to send it to you guys for approval, so if y'all have any questions on that. Okay?
Do any of our local, like tire companies or anybody bid on it?
Yes, they did this year, but they usually do submit a bid for everything. I mean, we send everything out locally anyway. I try to encourage people locally to bid on our stuff. But I think Hardeman Tire was the one that did not bid this year, that they usually bid every year. I don't know why I didn't ask, but they usually bid on that. Culverts, we got a new culvert company in, they submitted a bid. They didn't win the bid, but they submitted a bid. We've got, we don't have any rock companies, no emulsion. The fuel we do out is monthly, and we have two companies here that do it. But they changed the law this year on the state, where all you have to do is call and get quotes, and you don't have to bid that out. They made it easier for the highway departments, just call and get quotes, and then you can just, whichever one's their quote, you just tell them how you want to order this. That just passes the bid. But yes, we encourage people locally, if anybody wants to bid, we say, hey, give us your mailing address, we'll submit it. Anybody, any bids you want to.
Have they ever received the bid previously?
So-
Hardeman Tire?
Yes, they received it several times in the past. Because you got so many companies that are fighting for tires and stuff. You got people that come out of North Mississippi, most of it's Jackson. You have them out of, you got the state contract as well, so we do all those options. We look at every option we can and try to save as much money as we can. Co-op, they do our fuels, Bond Oil does the fuel, some of them get it fuel. So there's several folks that get it around here. This is our yearly bid. Anybody has any other questions?
I have a question, but it's not. Did they come here to all the way up to, before you hit Haywood County?
What kind of?
I mean, not Lake County. Not Lake County, it's not one of
Somebody-
all the way up on to, before you get to 179, all the way up to, before you hit 170, Haywood County. Is that state highway? It is. Okay. Well, I guess I need to ask Representative Shaw, we got some citizens, Mr. Shaw.
Mr. Buffer,
On that highway?
Mr.
Yeah, on
Buffer
that road.
already, contacted me, I already sent a letter to the state.
Okay.
Requesting information on if they have any projects, they do not have any projects that we're for right now. But Johnny did say that he had some money coming in or whatever from the state to fix some of the stuff that blew over, I think got 300 million just for T-Dot.
Okay.
Just for roads.
Okay.
So I don't know the plans, he did mention that the other day,
Yeah.
but that is gonna be for.
Cause you know what I'm speaking of.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
how
once that kind of stuff, I mean, he moved the ball right here, with the Main Street ball right where these gravel trucks, I mean, that's what's impacting the roads.
Okay, well, they just wanted me to,
Yep.
And commissioners, if y'all would please pull your mics down. Some commissioners here, Commissioner Bell is having a hard time with that.
I'm sorry.
Maybe if y'all would pull them down when you want to speak clearly into the microphone.
I apologize.
And is this loud enough for the audience to hear? Can everybody hear when they're talking?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
But if there's no other questions on the bids, I just need a motion to approve the bids.
Make a motion to approve bids.
Second. All right, motion been made and seconded to approve the bids brought forward by Superintendent Swift. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, we need roll call.
Yes. Steve Berry.
Yes.
Gillum.
Yes.
Grantham.
Yes.
Hensley.
Yes.
Jenkins.
Yes.
Blake.
Yes.
Lanier.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Pope.
Yes.
Sane.
Yes.
Vickers.
Yes.
Weems. Wright.
Yes.
Thank you. The only other thing I have is I brought the budget meeting tonight. If anybody had any questions on the budget, I'll be glad to entertain any questions anybody has. As far as the budget, I think there was some meeting last meeting, I was in Gatlinburg at a legislative conference. But I've got it with me now, and if anybody has any questions, I'd be glad to entertain any questions.
The question was, what was your total budget, 23, 24 versus your, what you're asking, 24, 25, the total figure? What is it, plus or minus?
Plus or minus, I think it was, we added the state aid money in there, so I think it went up, $3 million. That's just state aid money, that's what we put in to get paid back after the state aid contracts get approved.
That works on proposal or what?
Yes, any money that you put into expenditures, it shows, we've already got the money, it's already in our state account. I think it's like 4.1, something like that. We got that $3 million from the state for just roads at one-time money. We already had $1.4 million in there. So that brought it up to 4 something. And we've done a few little projects here, but we put all that money in there because we got big projects to do on Powell Chapel, Devine, and Lake Hardeman.
So that's in your work?
That's in the work proposal, yes, because you have to put it in there to get it back. You have to put it in the revenues and expenditures to get it back. So that's what raised up. I think our budget's around $9 million. Yeah, $9,027,000 is our budget for this year, but that's what that state aid money in there.
Yeah, but what's the difference without the state aid money?
I believe it was like,
No, how much more money you asking for operating, what I'm trying to ask?
well, we're the only money that we're asking is, I think it was right at 3.4 million. So I think our budget is somewhere around 6 million, 6.2, I think. That's what it usually is. Last year, I think we had it at 8 million, but that was the state money there we never spent. It's not guaranteed we're gonna spend that money. It's just, I've got $2.5 million contract right now that I'm waiting to get the budget passed and everything, so I can go ahead and proceed with the contracts. We had it scheduled to do start in July, but since we don't have a budget passed July 1, we're gonna, whenever we do get the budget passed, we're gonna proceed with the contract. Because I can't spend it unless you got it approved, so. But that's a one-time money from the state. I think West Tennessee, Middle Tennessee, and East Tennessee all got $3 million from the budget either.
But the question still is in your daily operations, how much money you asking for the new budget?
The new money that we're asking for the new budget, the only thing we're asking.
Operations.
400,000, I think is what it was out of our fund balance to put into our new budget. 449,000.
And that's all additional money you asking?
That's all the additional money we're asking.
Thank you.
And we would need to approve that budget because that was taken from last month, so we couldn't bring a new motion at that time because they did, I believe Commissioner Grantham did, he made a recommendation to table that, Commissioner Wright second, table that to you.
Oh, so, yeah, you can bring it to the motion to.
So you can bring
Approve
it back up.
First reading or whatever, I mean, I don't know, y'all do that as all.
You need it.
But yes, I will need it approved at some point. We have it now. If it was tabled, you have to take a motion off anyway.
Yeah, or can do it, bring it up.
Yeah.
All right, John, we'll go ahead and address that now. You got any questions on that one? Commissioner Gill?
Casey, would you give me a copy of that? I was asking.
You can have it. Okay.
As long as anybody don't have any other questions.
I recommend, since Mr. Casey is right here on the floor, just go ahead on and address it.
Approve it, but-
Yes.
So I guess I'm asking for a motion to approve the first reading.
Do you need to second that? I said.
First has been made to approve Superintendent Swift's road budget, and second from Commissioner Miller.
I'm good, I'm good.
That's
I'm
what
good.
I did. That's what I did. That's what I thought she
Make a motion to untable it to bring it forward.
In discussion.
So you're saying that the discussion has ended, is that what you're saying?
No, sir, you're asking for discussion now.
But my only question is, I guess for Johnny, is this budget incorporated into the budget that y'all are currently working on?
No, he has his own budget.
Yeah, my budget's separate from the general budget.
Okay, so.
My budget's totally different from everybody else's. Yeah, I did, Lee brought copies of it.
When the last
Last week. I think that's what we got tabled. So, no other discussion?
This discussion to bring it off the table.
Right. That's the reason I opened the floor back up, if anyone had any discussions before Mr. Casey, since he was present.
If there's no other discussion, we're going to make a motion to approve it on first reading, or we going to let it be?
We gotta approve getting it off the table.
Oh, so y'all, okay. Why?
You gotta bring it.
Okay, I'm waiting. I just trying to figure out what we're doing.
All right, no other discussion. All right, we're bringing this, the motion is to bring it from the table, bring it back to the floor. All right, once we do that, if that's voted on, then we will then have the motion to approve his budget. So, all right, we have a first and second, no other discussion. We'll go ahead with a roll call vote, please, Madam Clerk. This is to bring it off the table.
Bell,
Yes.
Bufford,
Yes.
DeBerry. Yes. Gillum,
Yes.
Grantham,
Yes.
Hensley,
Yes.
Jenkins,
Yes.
Blake,
Yes.
Lanier,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Pope,
Yes.
Sane,
Yes.
Vickers,
Yes.
Wayne,
Yes.
Wright.
Yes.
Now we will look for a motion to approve his budget.
I'll make a motion to approve the law.
Second.
Motion been made, properly seconded.
I do have one question for you now.
Discussion, yes, sir.
Because I'm just seeing this budget, Casey, your deficit, the 499,057, or the 449,854? Okay, that's all you got.
All right, any other discussion on the motion?
That should be right on.
If not, we'll move into a roll call vote. This is the motion to approve.
Bell,
Yes.
Bufford,
Yes.
DeBerry.
Yes.
Gillum,
Yes.
Grantham,
Yes.
Hensley,
Yes.
Jenkins,
Yes.
Blake,
Yes.
Lanier,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Pope,
Yes.
Sane,
Yes.
Vickers,
Yes.
Wayne,
Yes.
Wright.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone.
That's all.
Anybody have any questions, anything else?
All right. Next item, we will move into our budget amendments. Come on up, we'll go through yours. Yeah, before we get into our business.
Good evening. In this experience, so I have several things for you. Find the paper I gave you, got three packets, I'll put it in the file. The first one is a resolution for, a resolution for a lease agreement for copiers. It's been about 8 years since we've had a lease on copy machines, and as you can imagine, they are old, becoming irreparable, and can't get parts for them. So we have, looked at several different options, and this is a 5-year lease agreement with Novatech. And this requires a resolution because it is what's considered a debt service for the county for multiple years.
And that's a one, is that a 1 year? It's a 5 years of renewable by agreement, renewable by options.
said these are like forward I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
you said they were photocopiers? Now, how many roughly are they? It's, okay, I see that, I'm sorry. Thank you.
And this also includes the service plan, which is very common.
It does have, the service plan is included, Graham, it's okay.
Mr. Chair, I move that we accept the, management agreement with open session for board of education.
One second.
Motion has been made and properly seconded. All right, any discussion on the motion? And this is authorizing and approving the execution of this lease agreement between you and this company.
Excuse me, how often did you say y'all lease agreement? Oh, yeah, I have been 8 years. That's a long time, guys. It was long.
This is 5 year.
Five.
All right, is any discussion on the lease for Dr. Smith? Seeing none, we'll move into a roll call vote because that will affect that.
Bell,
Yes.
Buffer,
Yes.
DeBerry.
Yes.
Gillum,
Yes.
Grantham,
Yes.
Hensley,
Yes.
Jenkins,
Yes.
Blake,
Yes.
Lanier,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Hope,
Yes.
Sane,
Yes.
Vickers,
Yes.
Weems,
Yes.
Wright.
Yes.
Motion passes. Dr. Smith, you got two?
Yes, the next set of papers is, a budget and I believe 4 amendments for fiscal year in 2024. A lot of this is just cleanup that was typically needed to you. The first one you see is summer school budget. This is a state-funded program and this is the reimbursement for that. So it's just the budget for this year's summer school that reimburses us. The next page is the Innovative Schools Model Grant. This is a 4-year grant. We are ending year 2, and this is cleaning that up. This provides, some CTE teacher salaries, some programs, some equipment, some work we do in the libraries and things like that. So this is just moving that around to make our year end meet on the Innovative Schools Model Grant. The next page is a budget amendment for insurance recovery. This stems from the hailstorm that we had a couple of months ago. The board was hit directly, and we had roof damage, siding damage, vehicle damage. So this is our insurance proceeds from that adjustment. The next one is a budget amendment for special education. This is just like you have maintenance of effort with the schools and with the sheriff's department, we have maintenance of effort with the special education department. This is moving funds around to make sure we meet maintenance of effort at the end of the fiscal year. And the last one is an amendment to our cafeteria fund, Fund 143. As you all know, food costs skyrocketed this year. We did not have enough budgeted for that. We also, had to make some adjustments for our fresh fruits and vegetables programs that we have at Baldwin Elementary and, Grand Junction. This just cleans up the year end for June, 2024 for cafeteria. So those are all the 2024 budget amendments. Any questions on those?
Yeah, that comes out of a restricted funds, the cafeteria.
Yes, cafeteria.
Are there any questions for Dr. Smith? They're still processing them, Dr. Smith. Any discussion on the motion? All right, seeing none, we'll roll into a roll call vote.
Bell,
Yes.
Clifford,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Gillum,
Yes.
Grantham,
Yes.
Hensley,
Yes.
Jenkins,
Yes.
Blake,
Yes.
Lanier,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Holt,
Yes.
Sane,
Yes.
Vickers, Weems,
Yes.
Wright.
It's approved.
All right, and finally, we have our fiscal year 2025 budget. I want to start by saying how much I appreciate the work and effort time that a lot of people have put into this and to get to the point that we're at tonight. Our budget committee has met with the county budget committee multiple times. We've met with Mayor Cole multiple times. Our board has spent time in meetings so that they understood everything that's going on, and it has been a very, very lengthy process this year. But I believe we reached a compromise yesterday. We're cutting it close, but what we ended up doing, if you look on the very first page, what has been done is, we were at $1.03 in property tax. That has been decreased to 92.5 cents and moved into sales tax. So, the maintenance of effort is still the exact same as it was last year. That bottom line does not change. The way the revenue is going to come in does change. That's the revenue sheet on the first page. Are there any questions on that? All right, the second page is our list of expenditures. It's broken out by, funds. You look through those, look at the bottom, that's a large number. So let me go through how we got to this number. We had ESSER, which is sunsetting Monday, and it has brought us a lot of opportunities to do things we would not have been able to do before. We could get things approved in that, because everything had to be approved by the state before it was done. It could get approved, and then something had happened at the end, and it not work. We had that happen with our asphalt projects, and as you can imagine, those were some pretty large numbers. So at the end, we could not take that out of ESSER funds, we had to take it out of general purpose. So we took it out of our capital improvements fund, as you'll see, so that's where that money went. That depleted our capital improvements fund that we had set aside for the Ball Elementary and Central High School projects. However, we were able to use the money that we didn't get to use in ESSER to do a lot of maintenance and repair things out of our general purpose. You're not gonna see that in this, because it's in last year's budget. So we were able to swap a lot of those expenditures. At the end of the day, that number at the bottom is, excess of $791,000. That money is strictly basically going to go into an amendment that I'll bring next month. We have to do that after July 1, to our capital improvements fund to finish the Ball Elementary project. So that's why that number is large. We are actually under, because it's $1 million, $1,020,000 in that. We're actually under in terms of operating. That clears one of the.
Question on the capital needs, are those projects going to get finished, or are they?
Central is, go by there.
Okay.
It's pretty amazing.
Okay.
Ball Elementary, I don't wanna talk about it. It's going to be finished, it's gonna be at least fall break. It's been, they say the material and supply, windows and doors.
Right. Thank you.
If you get a chance to drive by Ball Central, it's going to be totally different. Any questions on those revenues or expenses for 141? That's our general purpose.
I had more, what we talking about, did you come up with? And maybe it's like, let's see our sales tax.
maintenance of efforts did not change.
It did not change. How, what the county's giving us this year is exactly what it gave us last year.
Yes.
The property tax is what changed.
I got a question. So the 700, almost 800, that's projected over your budget?
That will come
So
out.
where is that, is that already, you got that in the account somewhere, or?
It's going in this one on the very back in July.
Okay.
Any other questions on 121? All right, the next one, which is the third page, is Fund 143. This is our cafeteria budget. Since COVID, we have gotten some revenues that we're not warned about, they've just come in. One of the things that we've done is Dr. Wood has done a really great job of going in and assessing the equipment in our cafeterias. We have ovens in some cafeterias that do not work, and they're just there. So he has done a complete assessment of machinery and equipment inventory, and looked at that, and we need to spend at least 100, maybe 200,000, I think it's closer to 200,000 in equipment to get some of this stuff up to date. Some of these things you cannot even get part for at all. So we're going to be surplusing some of that, getting some new equipment in. That's a big piece of that. We're also making sure we budget this year for those food costs, so that we don't have to do an amendment like we did a year ago. But that is the cafeteria fund for fiscal year 25. Any questions on it? All right, the last sheet is Fund 177, which is the capital improvement, capital projects fund. This is where I will be coming back with an amendment next month for the $1,020,000 to bring that number over into this fund so that we can finish the capital projects. That's showing a deficit right now because we are in a deficit to finish the projects. Any questions on that? And that's all that's in that budget.
That's for
Strictly for capital projects.
Is any of that used for maintenance, or is any of it used, that's considered, this is just for capital projects?
Correct.
Mr. Chair, on the subject, I've got a watcher say that we've lost audio on our live social media feed. Can you check it for me?
Yeah, we lost our feed.
Audio. Everything looks okay.
Dr. Smith, on the cafeteria, where is that on the
That is going to be in equipment and food.
Okay, the ovens?
I can read. Okay, you can hear. Or some lines. It will be in 422, which is food supplies, and 17, which is food service and food. Thank you.
So is the cafeteria budget a separate line
It is.
that's on this one?
It's a restricted
And it's-
account.
You're looking at it being $500,000 over budget?
Yes, with the equipment and food cost increase.
So I'm just curious, if your revenue is less than your expenditures, is that, how do you make up that deficit?
That has its own fund balance.
So we got to calculate,
Absolutely.
so we're good on that?
Yes.
Okay. That's good that they're asking these questions. That's good, so everybody can be informed. That's a good question.
Dr. Smith, do we have any other, building projects besides Central and Baldwin Elementary?
We have a lot of needs probably, I mean, they're in dire shape. But that is a very lengthy, there's so many, and a lot of them tile, and showing that it's a long process. We've had estimates on it, it is astronomical. We thought maybe we could do them in small chunks and get it out that way, it'd be more logical. But I don't know where we'll stand with being able to do those types of things.
I've got another question. And I may be wrong. My understanding is that the student population is reduced. So, and if the revenues are the same, are you able to take the difference? I'm assuming, I don't know. That's how you're getting more per pupil, but are you able to take that and make upgrades to, I'm sure there's a backlog of deferred maintenance and.
Absolutely.
So is that what y'all are doing with those funds?
We are, what I can tell you is that we have, I call it a methodology, where we keep trying to keep teacher-pupil ratios relatively stable. No matter what, doesn't matter what the budget is. A lot of times, we'll have to take that money and save 2 years to buy a bus. So it kind of just depends. A chiller is over $100,000. It depends on what we see, particularly in maintenance, that could be an issue.
Right. So, but you have a current fund balance that you're able to
That's
maintain?
the only way we've been able to do anything.
Right.
How much is in that fund?
Estimated right now,
Right now,
I mean,
this week.
we'll be somewhere around 6 or 7 million. At least how much will we close the books? I mean, we've got a lot of expenses we're paying this week.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're recognized, Commissioner.
Dr. Smith, on the second page, estimated expenditures, fiscal year 24-25. Some of these I'm having trouble. Let me ask you this, simplify. I know we've got a lot of ground to cover tonight, and I'm not asking for any detail, but could you go down through those and just give us some information on what each one of those programs is, just briefly, what money's incurred on that? Some of them, like, alternative construction program, I'm not a teacher, so I don't know what that incurs. Just briefly,
Okay.
please.
So regular instruction program will be all of our teacher salaries.
Okay.
Alternative instruction program will be alternative learning, alternative school, plus the programs and things that support that, such as, mental health supports. Special ed is self-explanatory, CTE is all of our CTE programs. Attendance is, truancy, court services, the people that do all of our synergy.
That's what you
all
pay
of
the
them.
truant officer, and that's his salary included in that?
Correct.
Okay.
And there's multiple people.
Right.
Health services, I believe it's all the nurses and medical supplies and things like that. Other student support.
Anything with a 72 number is a support. Your regular instruction program support, or your other student support, they support the regular ed portion of our schools. Okay, that's where we do travel. It functions, it supports, that doesn't have anything to do with the teacher and the child.
These are salaries?
No, it's not salaries, it's travel, it's conferences, it's other supplies and materials.
There could
It's-
be 25 line items under this.
Yes.
So for instance, a 72 number next to the office of the principal, that would be what?
That would include all the principals and
APs and all school, administrative staff.
Well, there's a lot of people with that number.
Fiscal services, obviously, is our county. Human resources, that also includes, all the things we do for career fairs, recruiting, websites, things like that. Operation and maintenance are both it's not just the maintenance department, it's all repairs, all of that.
Does that include, salaries and repairs?
Yes, everything.
Okay.
Transportation is buses, salaries, buses, fuel, tires, everything. Early education, that is pre-K, and I can tell you that number does not even cover our pre-K programs. state has not funded it 100%. Principal on debt is the one remaining bond, interest, debt service, transfers out.
Okay, and under 72,310 Board of Education, what, that 500,000, what is that?
That is memberships, the board fees,
Most of our insurance.
insurance. It's covered under board.
Well, thank you for clarifying that for me.
I
understand
have
a
to
little
look at
better.
it, a better job.
So what on the, as far as, what's the director of schools? Is that? It's got-
I wish that was me.
Somebody did this one.
Did something happen on this?
That's what it takes to run the district office.
Okay, so that's
The
all the student
That's her
salary?
salary, her administrative assistant salary, office supplies for that, for our office, et cetera.
Insurance. Yeah, these can be very misleading sometimes.
So, Dr. Smith, at this time, all schools have a nurse and police officer.
All schools have a nurse. SROs are now covered completely through the municipalities. They all have to apply for their own grants, and they go through that. We've been lacking coverage at
One school.
one school, but that's, we have an intermittent lease, they've been trying to get as much as they can.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions for Dr. Smith? Seeing none, we'll entertain a motion to accept, first reading on the approval of the budget.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded, all right. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, we'll move into a roll call vote, please.
Bell,
Yes.
Clifford,
Yes.
DeBerry,
Yes.
Gillum,
Yes.
Grantham,
Yes.
Hensley,
Yes.
Wright. Nope, sorry. Jenkins,
Yes.
Blake,
Yes.
Lanier,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Hope,
Yes.
Sane,
Yes.
Vickers,
Yes.
Weems,
Yes.
Wright.
Once again, I appreciate all the time and work. This has been a very lengthy process to get here, but I appreciate your time. And good luck.
Thank you, Dr. Smith. We appreciate you and appreciate the hard work that you and your team do, and of course, I see some school board members out here, and it's good to see you. Thank you for what you do. All right, this time, now, we do have some more public officials, and Sheriff, you have a report for the litter grant, if you do.
I have, litter grant. June, we only picked up, only 7,800 pounds of garbage, and that was due to, vehicle issues. Our truck was down there for a couple of weeks, so, we finally got it fixed, and it's back up and running. Year to date, we have picked up 166,140 pounds of garbage off of county roads. The rest for the month of 5/15, 6/15, we've had 117 arrests, 75 reports on criminal incidents, 8 drug offenses, 10 thefts and burglaries, 17 traffic offenses, 4 assaults, 8 sex offenses, 2 fraud and forgery, 2 vandalism, 2 threats of harassment and intimidation, and 14 other animal disturbance, vehicle fire, juvenile, criminal impersonation, illegal dumping, protection order violations, and middle transports. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Hey, Sheriff, I'd like to ask a question. Saturday night's incident, how many arrests were made out there? You know, not maybe by your department. Any? Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. Appreciate what you do.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll move into committee reports. I know there's some that need some action on some. If you would, Commissioner Bell, you have a report report on our building committee, please, for the election office.
I've got a couple of handouts that I've sent around. The building committee met yesterday evening. We got our prices in on the renovation on the EMS building with a substantial number of changes. And I don't know if you were aware, but the initial bids came in like it was like $490,000, $480,000. You see on the first page the thumb from TLM. The pricing came in this time at $296 is the low bid, grinder, taper grinder. If you look on the next page, there's a list of deductible alternates that the general contractor proposed. The first two you can ignore because those were included in an addendum, so that's already in the price. Item number 3 is a possible deductive number, which is $1,385. That would be in the event right now. There are in what's going to be Miss Amber's office. There's kitchen cabinets. They're going to remove those cabinets. If the flooring under there is intact or can be repaired, then we can get a deduct. If it's not intact or if it can't be repaired, then that's then we cannot take that because the new flooring is built into that price. If that makes sense. That makes sense. Number 4 is in the records room. There's going to be some minor damage to the existing flooring, and rather than putting in new flooring in there, because the only thing that's going to be in there is records, is that we're going to repair that. So that would be a deduct off of that price of $4,630. Number 5 is in the bay areas, we're building walls, and the back end of the building, we're going to keep the doors. One of those doors will be where Miss Amber can pull in vehicles and unload Malaysian machines in the event of rain or whatever. The other bay is going to be used for storage for either the EMS or the county, however that shakes out. The walls, initially, the specification was supposed to have been a galvanized R panel, which is what's inside the building now. For whatever reason, the spec, and no one caught it, it was for a kind of finished metal. The general contractor, we talked to him, and it was like, hey, that's a expense we don't need. The number 5 is a deductive alternate of $4,500 to go from a metal panel to a concrete board, which will be moisture resistant. So it's just inside of a storage area. So in our mind, that's money well saved, if that makes sense. And that deducts it at another $4,500. And then the last, there's I think the specs call for a train mini split unit in the big new election building. And again, we asked the general contractor to come up with his ideas. And if we went to a brand called Gree, it would reduce that price by $4,640. We discussed it last night because the building committee, they were leaning towards it, but they asked that I do some checking because I've never heard of Gree. Called TLM Architects. They ran it by their engineers, and their position was they've not heard anything bad, but they would recommend that we get the submittals in if the project is approved. The contractor will have to do submittals, and if they do submittals, then they can verify if we can do that. Probably, based on the general contract, I can't imagine them submitting something that was not going to perform. So it's probably going to be considered an equal. With that being said, if you take the 296, 420, and you reduce by number 4, 5, and 6, that's $13,770. There is in the bid, there is a contingency amount of $15,000, which is a smart thing to have, because in construction, if you know, there's something might come up. With the reduction significantly of the interior renovations, the likelihood of something coming up is a lot smaller. We were tearing out and redoing replumbing. Now we're not doing that. So I wouldn't want to tell you that we're gonna not have to spend it, but the likelihood of having to spend it is significantly less. If by chance we're able to take number 3 out also, the total, if you removed all of that, would be $266,265. The budget that we were hoping for was $250,000. So it is over budget. I think it's going to be probably, best case scenario, it'll be $16,000 over budget. Probably worst case scenario, hopefully, prayerfully, it'll be maybe $20,000 over budget. After a lot of discussion, the building committee voted to make a recommendation to the county that we proceed with the renovation. So that's the building portion. The other item in here is the parking lot. The way that this thing was bid is there were a number of line items, so that once we got the price in, they could juggle it around to kind of figure out what makes the most sense. The initial pricing, the whole thing came in, it was about $160,000. I talked to the engineer today to just kind of follow up, because there was no need in pursuing a parking lot if we weren't doing a building. But after meeting with the building committee and their recommendation to move forward, I went ahead and called the engineer this afternoon and talked to Mr. Bobby. And we have a couple of issues. One is that because we had to rebid it, the pricing that we got in on the parking lot, we asked him to give us 60 days. Well, 60 days ended up about 10 days ago. So I called one of the contractors this afternoon, and he has not returned my call. I can't speak for the contractor. I would hope that only being 10 days out, that they'll hold the price, but we can't guarantee that. So if they don't, then that's going to cause, we'll have to back up and punt. The other issue, and if you look on the bottom of these 2 pages, really that's the main thing to take a look at. Page number 1, the way that we did it is it was broken out into 2 projects. One on the EMS portion, which pays around behind the building, adds a new entrance on the EMS side, pays around behind the building so that they can have access to all of those bays behind the facility. The other portion is on the election commission portion, which is a new entrance, additional parking, and then an exit. If you took, the way it worked out is we had one contractor that was low on one section and the other contractor that was low on the other. One of those lower contractors was somewhat non-compliant in their bid. They didn't provide a number of pieces of information that were asked. However, it's not really a deal breaker. I mean, it was, drug-free zone, drug-free information, stuff they were supposed to supply that was kind of boilerplate. But the long and the short of it, after talking to the engineer, he thought, we were hoping that one guy would be low on both of them, but that was not the case. His recommendation would be to not split the contract up. And the contractor that was low on both of them was Fowler. And Fowler, my understanding, has done quite a bit of work for the county. He actually did all the parking lot that was up there on the existing. It is a little more than if we split the two projects up. But Fowler on page 2, you can see on the bottom, it was $105,000. We were hoping for $100,000. So in all, if you take the over budgeted portion for the interior renovation and the parking lot, it's about between $20,000 and $25,000 over budget. But again, we all discussed it last night, and there's not a lot of other options that are available. So that's how the bids came. Anybody have any questions on any of that? All of the alterations, Miss Amber's here. She and I went through everything, and I think she can speak for herself as far as.
We can make that work.
Yeah.
Question, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
So it's $105,000. Trying to tighten this up a little.
Yes.
$105,000 basically for the parking.
Correct.
And then what was the
With
building?
the deductive alternates, the lowest number is 266. Mark, I would just like swear that's gonna probably be 270 if I had to guess, and it could be even more than that. But
Okay. Thank you.
David, what are the engineering fees that we've incurred so far on this project?
well, the engineering was 9,000 something. We talked. I don't remember. That was we approved that back when we started the thing, but it was like $9,500. It was cheaper to break it out and have an engineer rather than having an architect. Because an architect firm has got to have an engineer, so they would have to sub that out.
So
and they're just going to mark it up.
We spent 9,000 with TLM. We spent 9,000.
Oh, they would spend more than that. We directly contracted with an engineering firm to basically not run it through TLM so that they're not just marking up an engineer fee. And they were fine with that. They were like, listen, we don't really do that much when it comes to that anyway. So we ran that by and just try to save money.
But there's a lot of, as you admitted too, there's a lot of unknown costs that we don't really know yet what it's going to be exactly. And you know, being a government, I like to know exact figures. I don't like to be surprised in the back end. Like
What unknown are you talking about?
Well, you know, like you mentioned, the paving and then the other the renovation. You had what was that amount? It was 260 something.
When we take the deductive alternates, which is then supplied to us by the contractor, basically, we went to them after the prices came in and said, look, you've looked at the project, is there anything in here that you can see that we can change to save the county money? And they came back with this list. Two of the things that in talking to the architect that I wanted to make sure that was in there, they had already included that. So that was items 1 and 2. These others are ideas that they had to just reduce the overall cost. But the contract price would be reduced by those numbers. The only thing that's not a known is that $1,300 kind of called a rebate, but they would do that after the fact. And contract with them, that would include the flooring, and then if they take those cabinets out, then if they don't have to do it, then we would get that at the end of the contract. So it's a hard number. It's not even guessing. The only thing that's guessing is if that bit of flooring is underneath.
Well, with that being said, have you had a discussion with the contractor, the low bidding contractor? Have you had a discussion with them about commitments they have ongoing, the timelines they have to finish those commitments?
As a matter of fact, that was addressed on the front end because initially, because the prices came in on $2,000 a cart, so they're good numbers.
The bids came in.
Yeah, the bids came in, and that's, you got that here on this. The prices came in about $2,000 apart, so they were both, wanting to get the project. And initially, in the bid documents, the designer had put in, 120 days of completion. Well, since this thing came in over budget, we had to push it back, take out a bunch of stuff, and it pushed us back another month, which is the same issue that we had with the parking lot. So, my thoughts were, for $2,000, I wanna make sure we get an examiner in there by October 1. So when talking to the architect, we said, listen, they need to be able to complete the project in 90 days. The higher bidder said that they could do it. Initially, the lower bidder said, listen, the design documents say 120, it's 120. So we went, I told Jerry, I said, well, tell them that we're gonna have to go with the higher bidder because we don't wanna be in there. I mean, we're trying to get in by November. So when we told them that, we would have to go with the higher bidder. Well, they backed up and said, no, we'll do it 90, not a problem. So they committed and, talked to Todd about it yesterday, at the meeting. In the event that it's approved, the architects have got the paperwork, contracts ought to be signed. They'll be able to hopefully go to work the first week of July with basically an end date that turning it over to us the first week of October.
Do we have a bond yet on file with that contracting company if they fail to produce by their 90 days?
I'm almost certain that they had to provide bonds.
They do have to provide bonds, but I just want to make sure it's concurrent.
No, I think that was part of the bid, all of the bid package. I think they had to provide certificates of insurance on it.
Right.
And Grinder, Taylor, and Grinder are a very large contractor. They're based in Memphis. They're doing a project, down on the island, not on the island, on the river with the new Brooks Museum, and that job is probably over $100 million.
Yeah, I've worked with them in the past.
They have a good reputation, and I don't, if they're telling me something, I have no reason to think that they're not gonna.
I just want to make sure a bond was in place.
Oh, yeah. Well, we can't honestly, we can't even do the project without a bond. Legal tech from a state law, legally, we can't do it, so. The only, with the parking, the issue would be if the contractor comes back because it's 10 days out and says, hey, I can't do it for that. And if that's the case, then we'll have to back up and punt. Now, Martin, do you know him? Okay. Well, I called him this afternoon and left a message. I suspect that because, I mean, I know he wants to do work, he's currently doing work for the county, but I can't speak for him. If I guess, a advantage is that if it can't be done, it's only about a week to 10 days worth of work to do the parking lot. If we have to go back and redo something, we can still do that, get it bid, and get it done before Ms. Amber has to move in.
That was my next question. Has the approach and exit to this building been thoroughly designed by the engineer? So we don't have traffic congestion?
Yes, that was part of what they did for us. So they laid it all out, they took core cuts, or core board down 3 foot all over the place. If I had to go back out there at night, fill all it, they take photographs and fill it all back in for us.
So how is that laid out? What is the approach, the in and outs of the election commission?
They're putting in an additional entrance at the entrance to the office area between the there's some gas pipes coming out there and the sign. I don't remember how wide that is, but basically it'll be, instead of kind of coming in at a curve, it's kind of coming in straight, and then the parking lot will continue on the way it is now, swing around and go all the way up that hill to join with the existing pavement that's back there. Interestingly, this was how it was designed way back when TLM laid it out, or designed it initially, and for whatever reason, they decided to cut that part of the pavement out of it. So it made it kinda easy. It's actually, most of the dirt work is done, they're gonna have to take the topsoil, cut the grass and stuff off of it.
Is there an
The
entrance?
slope is already there.
Or on Henson Trucking Road, is there an entrance on that?
Tentatively, in talking to Jackie, I don't know if they formally voted on it, but I don't think, that's the intent. And what that will allow us to do is to have an entrance in and then have basically one-way traffic, which will allow us more parking. That way, we can go in there and exit out on Henson, that road.
And there's also a retaining wall being built to separate the bays from.
We discussed that last night. There's gonna be a barrier.
A barrier.
So exactly what that is, we're not 100% certain at this point.
Okay. My final question is, Ms. Amber, are you good with all this?
Yes, he went out there with the changes that were made and stuff, yeah.
Okay, so you're 100% good with everything?
I mean, we may later on, we have to go back and try to change the roads, but it would be something, just be a small project but to make it work and protect the values and to take care of the public, it will work.
It will work, okay, thank you.
And Mr. Chairman, we already set aside, was it 300,000 for this project?
There's so much in the budget that we need to look back at that and see what that is.
I think
It was 300,000 we set aside, we voted on 300,000.
Yeah. Ms. Amber, what is the date the early voting that you need then? It's early October.
It's mid-October.
Mid-October.
It'll be 15 days out from November 5th. When we early voting, 20 days out from November 5th, so whatever October 15th, I have to go back and look. I have to say it, yeah, it's close, so.
Are there any questions? David, do you need any action on that for your?
We would like, yes, we would like to proceed with the project. So, in order to get, if October 1 is the date that we're gonna do, then we gotta pull the trigger tonight. Not necessarily 100% on the parking. I would like to go ahead and proceed with it. And if it comes in where they can't do it for this number, then we'll have to back up and punt. But if you want to do the building and it be available for Miss Amber by October, then we gotta pull the trigger, and you're gonna have to sign the contract like next Monday, as soon as they get in front of it. Because it's 90 days, they can do it, but there's not a lot of wiggle room in that, so.
So what was that total, with the parking lot? Somebody help me out here. What was the total parking lot in building? 375. So, Mr. Chairman, we voted appropriated 300,000, so the other 75, do we need to make a motion to go ahead with this without ensuring the other 75 is needed to that 300 that we appropriated?
Yes. We have appropriated 300 in the budget.
Correct.
So you're looking for that all-inclusive budgetary number.
Right.
So we would need to go ahead and make the motion then to make that 375.
Follow up with the building.
That's correct.
We need to appropriate the money first. Is that right, Commissioner?
Little clarity there, Mr. Chairman. I'm speaking with Ms. Linda through the text as well. We had 300,000 in the budget we're in. Obviously, we haven't spent much of that. Come June 30, any of that money has not been spent, will revert back to fund balance. In the budget, we're about to discuss, at some point, there's, 250,000 in there, is what she's got it at. So, depending on the shortfall, it could be as much as, what's that, 130? Is that all right, Mr. Bell? If it's 380?
You talking about the difference between what they?
Between what's gonna be in this budget, which is 250 to total.
Right, this total is gonna be about 375. So if you got 250 from last year, then just the difference would be up there. So 125,000.
We need to
No,
go
it's gonna
ahead
be
and cover.
250 in this upcoming year. that will be out this year.
But we need to go ahead and cover the amount on the motion.
We can do that, or cover the 250, and we can do a, budget amendment on the back end.
Okay.
For the overage.
I'm good with
Either one, either one would be acceptable.
That's what I would say do, because that way we'll have a for sure total to do the budget.
Right, the amended correct amount.
Correct.
So we need a motion then to go ahead and proceed, with the project.
Yes, I'd like to have a motion to
I
proceed
make a
with
motion
the
to go ahead and accept the, project as stated by Commissioner Bell. It's on the building committee for revised recommendation.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to accept the, building plans from Commissioner Bell. Any discussion on the motion, please? Commissioner, yes, ma'am.
I was just about to say that, Commissioner Bell, he worked digitally on this project, and what he has presented, you know, we up against the wall, and it wasn't the best, but what we have now, we need to go ahead on and proceed, put it in action, because we would like to see Ms. Amber in her space, in her building on October the 1st. And I applaud Mr. Bell for getting out there and working digitally like he did.
Thank you. Is there any more discussion on the motion? If none, Madam Clerk, we'll have a roll call vote, please.
Bell,
Yes.
Clifford,
Yes.
DeBerry.
Yes.
Gillum,
Yes.
Grantham,
Yes.
Hensley,
Yes.
Jenkins,
Yes.
Lake,
Yes.
Lanier,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Hope,
Yes.
Sane,
Yes.
Vickers,
Yes.
Wayne,
Yes.
Wright.
Yes.
God bless you.
All right, Sheriff Doolin has asked for a point of privilege here for a second for the Sheriff of Hardeman County, if you would please.
Commissioner Gillum, I want to apologize to the way I answered that question a while ago. Kind of caught me off guard.
Okay.
I do know that there was a couple of arrests made that night. I do not know if they were involved in the incident that occurred that night. I'm not involved in the investigation of that incident, nor have I been, the office of the sheriff been asked to get involved in that. So that's what I wanted to convey to you, that I don't think this was quite an answer.
Before we get, Commissioner Miller, we'll get to the ambulance in just a minute for the announcement for that. Then, Commissioner Grantham? Please, sir.
Briefly, word from the airport bid opening today. We had 4 bidders. I don't know the details yet, they haven't come in, but I know they were good bids within $4,000 or $5,000 with each other. Shelby Eisen, director of the airport, contacted me late this afternoon. We don't have those final numbers, but it looks like that Hardeman County will be out very little money. This was on the apron project for the Hardeman County Airport. This is not the building. We're taking it step by step, so the cost is not out of hand and a lot of hidden figures in that project. So this is for the apron project. Right now, the state of Tennessee is out there filling in cracks and working on the runway at no cost to the county, of course. And so it looks like the apron project, I'll report those numbers to each and every one of you as soon as I get those in, so we'll work on that.
Commissioner Miller, if you would please, for our ambulance department, I see we have our director back there.
Yes, we do, I see. Director Jane. So the EMS met on last night as well. We had 2 positive recommendations. The first recommendation from the committee was to, name Jamie as the director and with a salary of $8,000, and that was a positive recommendation. We also went to the budget committee and, we got that taken care of. So that is in our budget this, for next year, 2024, 2025. The second recommendation was to go ahead did finally get the ambulance, and it is, in shop, and Director Jamie has it, and they are working on it to get it out on the road. So that should be on the road soon. However, the ambulance department is in need of some more trucks, so the committee did approve, us to put some money in the budget for a truck, but that is pending a grant. And so that grant, we will not know if we get that money for that grant until it see if that grant is awarded, so.
Thank you, Commissioner Miller. And we are, again, we did receive that truck. It had been, 2 to 3 years, is that right, Commissioner?
Yes.
For that, and we're so grateful to have that. So, thank you for your patience, from the county, from the citizens, but it is here, and, we're very grateful, because we had a transmission, one that just lost transmission on another one, so we need our ambulances, folks. Jamie, do you have anything to address on that for the ambulance department? Okay. All right, seeing none, we'll move on, and, we will move into our budget amendments. We're ready for that, Commissioner. You don't have your packet in front of you for the budget. Yes.
Good evening, everyone. Before we get to budgeting, the budget committee met, last Monday the 17th, it met last night the 24th, and you had several amendments in your packet, and then you should have had several more, at the podium tonight for, budget committee members. Number 20 was failed to get to our meeting, last Monday, Commissioner Hensley and Sane, but it's pretty self-explanatory. And then also, at the end, 44 and 45 were just brought, to us tonight, and I'll explain those. So Commissioners, try to weed through these. I've got the numbers, between those two budget committee meetings. Amendments 1, 3 through 5, 7 through 14, 21 through 29, 31 through 41, and number 43 were approved, by the budget committee with no need to go to the full commission. So that being said, we're gonna start with, number 2. Most of these are self-explanatory, Mr. Chair. I hope we can, go through these and take them all at once. I think we'll be able to. Some of them are, for the most part, still line item transfers, Commissioners, but, they could be dealing with, salaries, reserve accounts, or obviously the ones that are coming out of fund balance. So moving forward with the amendment, starting with number 2, is, circuit court, deputy employee insurance, $5,500, deputy part-time employees, $8,250, accredited deputies, $8,000, jury and witness expense, $5,500, and communication, $250 for a debit credit balance of $13,750. And as I said, that's line item transfer within that budget, cleaning up for the end of the year. And Ms. Linda hopes that these, take us through June. There could be a couple in July, but she's hoping that's not the case. Number 6 is the ambulance department. Deputy motor vehicles, $55,260. Crediting clerical personnel, $50. Attendance, $26,000. Part-time personnel, $10,000. Employee insurance, $1,200. Unemployment, $10. Contracts with private agencies, $18,000 for a debit credit balance of $55,260. Any questions on 6?
Number 15, General Sessions Court, debiting fund balance, $1,375. Crediting, the judge, $1,200. Social Security, $20. State retirement of $150. And employer Medicare, $5, for a debit credit balance of $1,375. Uh, 16, Juvenile Court, Deputy Communications, $700, contracts for government agencies, $2,000, fund balance, $4,700, crediting other salaries and wages, $3,500, Social Security, $225, state retirement, $450, employee insurance, $50, vehicle repair, $3,175, for a debit credit balance of $7,400. Number 17, county attorney, debiting fund balance $65,000, crediting legal fees $65,000. Number 18, debt fund, debiting fund balance $4,440, crediting interest on bonds $1,705, and Trustees Commission, $2,735, for a debit credit balance of $4,440. Number 19, landfill convenience centers, debiting part-time personnel $14,000, maintenance and repair equipment $15,000. Overtime $2,000, employee insurance $3,500, employer Medicare $1,000, legal notices $800, uniforms $1,400, surcharge $5,000, and landfill closure $8,260. Crediting legal fees $60, utilities $1,600, part-time personnel $5,000. Social Security $2,900, communication $1,300, contracts with private agencies $40,000, and custodial supplies $100, for a debit credit balance of $50,960. That's all landfill. Well, that's a big one, but it's all line item transfers. Yes,
Commissioner, is the landfill closure, is there a surplus in that where we can take money at times from that? I mean, doesn't it have to be a set number?
I believe so. It's not a normal practice to take from that, but we have to maintain, I think the number is 2.8 million for 30-year post-closure.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions on, 19? Okay, number 20, that none of us have seen, fire prevention, debiting, other salaries $20,000, and the fund balance $10,000, crediting fire calls $30,000, and that debit credit total is incorrect. That should be $30,000. Yeah, it's a 24 there. 30. It should be 30. Note that correction now. And that's, funding our fire departments for fire calls. Any questions on 20? With that correct?
Yeah, a question on that, I hear it from time to time, are we up to date, to your knowledge, on all the fire calls being paid out this fiscal year?
As far as I know there's some billed quarterly, there may be one or two that bill monthly.
That's fine.
That's just what I've heard of.
I know we've been,
But if we get a bill, as far as I know, we pay it, nobody's, come to me and said we have not paid our fire bill.
thank you.
Okay, number 30, county clerk's office. And this is, reserve account, debiting, reserve account, 1,300, crediting office equipment, 1,300. Number 42, another reserve account drug fund, debiting overtime pay $5,630, crediting maintenance repair vehicle and trustees commission $3,600 for a debit credit balance of $5,630. And these, last two are due tonight, and, I could explain. Number 44, ambulance department, debiting the fund balance $200,077, crediting motor vehicles $200,077. That's the ambulance Commissioner Miller may have spoke about, that we ordered 3 years ago, that we just got 2 weeks ago. And, that money at the time was coming out of ARP funds, which don't exist anymore, all that reverted to the fund balance. So that's where we're getting it from, to pay for the new remount ambulance that Jamie now has. Any other questions on 44? And then 45, ambulance department, debiting, employer Medicare $8,000, crediting maintenance and repair, $8,000, and that was for a repair on a transmission, of ambulance, and it's line item transfer. So, if there are no other questions on the budget amendments, Mr. Chairman, we can take all these together. You got the numbers, Madam Clerk? It's gonna be 2, 6, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 30, 42, 44, and 45.
I'll make a motion the budget amendments as listed be approved.
Second. Motion been made and seconded. Are there any discussion, please? Seeing none, we'll move into a roll call vote.
Bell,
Yes.
Bufford,
Yes.
DeBerry,
Yes.
Gillum,
Yes.
Grantham,
Yes.
Hensley,
Yes.
Jenkins,
Yes.
Blake,
Yes.
Lanier,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Pope,
Yes.
Yes.
Sane, Vickers,
Yes.
Wing,
Here.
Wright.
Yes.
Motion passes as presented. A lot of work goes into these budget amendments and the budget, of course. Before we do that, I want to go ahead and, we have been looking for the last few months for a building compliance officer. Many of you call it the zoning officer, zoning compliance officer, building commissioner, as defined in the CCA code. We interviewed for that position, and we had some great candidates, and I have chosen a gentleman that I think would suit our administration very well, and his name is Mr. Ron Purtle. And I believe he could take office probably around the first to the 5th. And y'all know Mr. Purtle. Mr. Purtle, you want to stand up? That's Ron Purtle, and we had 4 applicants that we interviewed, and it was myself, of course, Mr. Watkins, and our human resources director, and of course Lily Tigger as well. So they chose, I think, a great candidate, and I would like for that to that's going to be my nominee, and it's who I'd like to nominate for this position.
We need to have a confirmation tonight.
Yes, sir. Please.
I move that we accept the nominee as presented by Mayor Paulson, confirms tonight.
Second. Thank you. We've got a first and second. Any discussion? Saying, Madam Clerk, we need a roll call, I believe. If we could, please.
Bell,
Yes.
Bufford,
Yes.
DeBerry,
Yes.
Gillum,
Yes.
Grantham,
Yes.
Hensley,
Yes.
Jenkins,
Yes.
Blake,
Yes.
Lanier,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Pope,
Yes.
Sane,
Yes.
Vickers,
Yes.
Queen,
Yes.
Wright.
Yes.
Thank you very much for that confirmation. Mr. Purtle, will you accept this position?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. All right, thank you very much. We've been working closely with Southwest, of course, with our planning. And of course, Commissioner Wings is our representative on the planning commission as well. So, thank you very much. And now we'll be moving into the budget for our first reading of the budget. Y'all do have your packets there in front of you, I believe. All right, a lot of hours have gone into this, and we appreciate, of course, the budget committee very much. We have a great budget committee, and Chairman Lanier, we thank you for your hard work. And of course, we have two more commissioners on the budget committee, Commissioner Hensley, Commissioner Sane, Richard Clark as our community representative, as well as Sharon Murder. And we thank them for their hard work, extremely hard work that they put into this. And Commissioner, if you would, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and reiterating what Dr. Smith and Mayor Pohl said, anybody that worked on this, we don't want to leave them out. We did do a lot of hard work. I thank the other members of the budget committee, Dr. Smith, Ms. Lisa, the school board, budget committee, and school board for working with us. Dr. Smith, Ms. Lisa, and Mr. Bobby Henderson has been pretty much there with us throughout. We are about a month late. There is good reason for that. We made a lot of changes from the past in how this budget is going to appear. And Ms. Linda Ernest is the main one I want to thank. It's a good thing we're good friends, as you probably read in the head, because either myself or a fellow commissioner on the budget committee or Richard Clark or Sharon Murder, if we had a question, I asked her to find out the answer. And that was a lot and often. And she dug and she dug, and if we wanted to know, she found the answer. And going back, if you saw a tax levy sheet that this commission's voted on, of course, it's always went through, our schools got funded, our county side got funded, but it's very, very confusing. And I think we have made it a lot simpler for everybody to understand, to know what funds our schools from us, to know what funds our county, with our revenues. It's all broken out, and actually a representative from the state was with Miss Linda today. She wanted her to confirm, you know, all of her documents on how we fund our schools, all of our documents on the funds that we get on our county side. And she said, I spoke with her on the way over, she said she absolutely loves it, and that she wished a lot of other counties would do the same thing. So thanks for everybody for your ideas and questions. And it's been a lot of data, a lot of meetings, so forgive me if I talk in circles somewhat, but it's a lot of numbers too. But I'll just use the sheet in the cover of your booklet. Ms. Linda made all the commissioners this booklet, and as I said, talk in circles because I've been texting her as we're meeting. Going back to that building, if it's y'all's wish, we said we had $250 in there on the election commission renovation at the ambulance department. We can do a budget amendment later, or obviously if this passes tonight, second reading will be in July. She can change it in this budget for second reading, whatever y'all's wish is. So we could up it, say, from 250 to 380, if that would cover it all. So just be thinking about that while I'm
The only thing that wouldn't cover is the architectural and engineering fees, because that's the prices of.
Correct.
Of the project.
And that was why I said we could just do a budget amendment to cover all of the expenses, if that's what y'all's wish is. Either way. So back to the budget. Start with just the cover page on the outside of your booklet. At the top, that's the Fund 101, you see for the upcoming year, revenues are $14,771,387. Expenditures are $15,128,698. Versus last year, you see that 85 and 84 some odd million. That is a result that Core Civic is gone. So that money's not passing through. That's why your big discrepancy is there. The next one, Fund 122, that's the Sheriff's Drug Fund. Just showing you again, revenues, expenditures, which that's the money spent at his discretion. Fund 151 is our debt service. Of course, if you look down at the bottom, we're putting .0511, so a little over a nickel of the property tax going into the debt service, which pays our debts. And then the last fund is the landfill. Revenues versus expenditures. It is, of course, it's in the back. It is a balanced budget with a little bit of a surplus. And I will go on and tell you that does reflect an increase from $9 per month to $10.50. That rate has been the same for a long time, and I will tell you the budget committee worked hard when she came to us with department requests and other things. We were at $14 a month, and when we got done, we were at $10.50. So a lot of work went into that one. The next thing, going back to that old appropriation sheet, and I was gonna kind of explain a little bit of what we've learned with all our questions. If I can find my data, here it is. If you take our revenues versus expenditures with the budget that's in front of you, and with that sheet or paper clip, because Ms. Linda made some changes today, I think she highlighted those for you or put them on an explanation sheet that's within this budget. But this does have a deficit of $357,311. And you say we go to the fund balance, but the one thing that we have clarified that we were not sure of in the past, as our schools budget on 92%, we budget on 85. We were not even sure in the past if that cushion was there, so to speak. Mayor was at our meeting last night. We also spoke. We think that's something good to do in the near future. We're going to try to go to state legislation and get our charter changed where we're 92% like the schools are, because 85 is a bit much for budgeting purposes, and it's a number that goes back, I don't know how many years, a long time.
Yes, that was set up in the private acts, and what we do, we have to have a recommendation from the county commission, and then we go to the state legislature, then they would vote on it, and then send it back, and we would ratify that. But that would help us for the budget numbers.
Correct. But to explain further, if you had your little stapled or paper clip portion Miss Linda had in your booklet on it could be the top page for you all, that shows the tax levy. And you come down at the bottom, the general, our rate is 0.8341 of $1.8102. And if that was collected in 100%, that's $4,938,691.12. We've been collecting between 98 and 99%. At 85%, that amount is $4,197,887.45. That's what we're budgeting on, which gives a potential cushion, if you will, of a little over $700,000. So if we were to stick to this budget, are we losing $357,000? No, we covered that, and still, there's a little cushion there. That's why you budget at 85%. And I was going to touch on, we learned a lot about how we fund our schools, and thanks to them again, we compromised, we met, we talked on their funding, and nobody was really aware, since this local option sales tax is helping fund our schools as well. That has increased some, and they were upping that revenue, and inadvertently didn't realize they were raising our maintenance effort, and have for a couple of years. And it has hurt nobody, no, but it has raised it. So with that being a liability on our side, we wanted to capture that and make sure that that didn't grow this year. It's a year-to-year picture, but that it did not grow. And I know Dr. Smith gave you some negative numbers. If you see their property tax, on that same page, they're at 92%. You can do the math. They have a little cushion there. And if you go on back, it shows on the back page, I believe, it shows, gives you a breakdown of how we fund our schools. Our maintenance effort this year is $8.811154 million. And it shows the property tax, all the other fees, and the reason their numbers, that's a question I asked Dr. Smith, weren't exactly matching. Some of those smaller fees, they got added into one line item. But then your other biggest one, the $3.277 million, that's what they budgeted in the local option sales tax. And they use that number. Is it gonna be higher? Yes. But if they budgeted higher and we don't lower the property tax anymore, our maintenance effort increases. And that's what we wanted to cease as far as the liability on our side. So they were happy with their funding. Their cushion's gonna be enough. It'll hopefully, it should overcome their deficit more. And we're in hopes that that's what it'll be the same on our side. So we've learned just a lot of information. I think they've even learned, we've all learned, and moving forward, it's gonna be far simpler to deal with. As far as inside our budget, as far as changes, just to highlight, we did have some increases we couldn't help. We had some losses in revenue we couldn't help. Of course, all the elected officials had state mandated raises of 5%. Core Civic, as of December, is gone. That alone was a $96,000 hit to our revenue for acting as the board, plus the interest income we made off that money passing through our county, which is what I referenced, that $85 million budget last year. You can say 70-something million is not coming through the bank anymore. They went to corporate and national, and that is a significant decrease. Health insurance increased 6.4%. TCRS increased 3.2%. I believe property and equipment increased as well. 911 may have had a small increase as well. But the debt service is funded. Postage was a big increase. All the nonprofits and the libraries were left at the same funding. There were no cost of living raises outside of the state mandated elected officials. There are 4 raises, I believe, in this budget, and they are all supervisory roles, if you will. The airport was one of them, which is going to be funded somewhat by a grant, isn't that correct? Jamie, who's our current director, that salary was set at $80,000, as you heard from Mr. Miller. That is a overtime exempt position. Chief Deputy Davis is an overtime exempt position, and Stephen Graves is an overtime exempt position. That's the only 3 exempt employees in our county other than elected officials.
Commissioner O'Neill?
Yes.
I have one question. This will be directed toward Dr. Smith. We're talking about pay raises for everyone up here. Any for the teachers?
They're gonna be raised on the pay scale that was approved in
Mayor? In the passage of this budget, we are raising that not even to the 50,000 that's gonna be required in 2 years.
Well, that was my next question about the 50,000.
I know it is.
Okay.
We also reduced we had 5 degree levels on the pay scale, that has been reduced to 3 to try to make sure that we can get where we need to be in the next 2 to 3 years.
Are we compensating our teachers that excel above and beyond, like on the 3s, 4s, and 5s?
They have an opportunity through the differentiated pay plan, which is totally state deal.
Okay, okay, and what is the compensation on, like, say a 4 or 5 teacher?
I believe it's maybe 400 and 700.
Per year, when they achieve certain level? All right, thank you, Commissioner.
I have a question, Dr. Smith. With that being said, are you speaking in longevity for your teachers? This pay scale has a longevity piece for teachers, and this is off the top of my head. Okay. I believe at 23, 25, 27, and 30 years. That is not something we've had in the past, and it was the exact same increase that they had given us across the board now. Before, you might have gotten $18 increase from year 3 to 4. Okay. Now it's $750 straight down. Okay.
Thank you, Commissioner Lake. Going back, the only 4 raises, the airport, the sheriff has a maintenance person who is HVAC certified. He was increased, and rightly so. The budget committee thought with the certifications that he has, and works on a lot of our buildings to keep from having to call contractors. Stephen Graves, with all the certifications he has to get for landfill purposes, had a raise in there. What was the other one, Jack? Yeah, Chase Graves, who is keeping up maintenance on all the grounds of the buildings, and runs a summertime crew for sure. And that's the only 4. And other than that, that is pretty much the gist of the budget you have in front of you for first reading. I can answer any questions tonight, but obviously you got a lot of material to go through. All the revenues in there, all the departments are in there, landfills in there. If we pass tonight, we have till the 16th of July for second reading. If you have questions, feel free to call myself, Mayor Bowles, Miss Linda in the mayor's office. And if we don't know, we will get you an answer. But as far as first reading, anybody got any other questions, or Mayor, Jackie, have you missed anything?
You did say Tennessee Consolidated Retirement System. Now, that went up, I think, over 3%.
Correct.
Is there any questions? And thank you, Mr. Chair. You know, that is, and of course, again, thank you to Linda Ernest as well. She is a great asset. And thank you, Commissioner, as the chair of our budget committee. And is there any questions here that you'd like to entertain at this time?
Commissioner, here, you had stated on the landfill, the discussion of the increase from $9 to $10.50. At one point, it was talked about 14.
Potentially.
Okay.
When we start.
So, this is something that's gonna affect every property owner in Hardeman County. So this, it states landfill will have a balanced budget. And so with that increase from $1.50 increase, we're gonna balance everything from there. Right?
Correct.
Okay. All right, thank you, that's all I have.
And that is one thing, of course, we have to look at every year, going back to the landfill. She was able to capture, a lot of the new data for revenue, but we were closed so long, we were paying outside contractors so long, being mainly the 2. And, once we get this next full year under our belt, I think we'll be able to capture the revenue side a lot better and see what expenses we will not incur, as well.
And it's been at $9 for how many years?
Several.
Probably since what, is it 2015?
That was before the year.
Before then? Okay.
But we felt that was something, to have a balanced budget. Of course, we gotta keep 30-year post-closure amount, the 1050. That's just $1.50 a month, so it wasn't a huge hit to those accounts.
I have a question, Commissioner. With the increase on the landfill, would that go into effect for 2025 taxes?
Correct. And the biggest thing I did not mention, this budget does not reflect a property tax increase. It's right, it stays the same. That's
There was no recommendation whatsoever to move that tax rate up from 1.81. And, so we're holding to that, and, it's a lot of hard work, a lot of, sweat and tears in this budget right here, isn't that right, Dr. Smith? Any other questions before we'll ask for a, recommendation?
Good job.
Yes.
I make a motion for the approval of the first reading of the budget. Second.
All right, motion has been made for the approval of the first reading of the budget. Motion been seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none.
Question.
Okay. Commissioner?
Since this is the first reading, will we have to have a special meeting to, pass the second reading?
public forum.
And that'll be, we'll have it published, and then it will be, we'll advertise, it'll be a public forum there at that meeting, and then before we pass it. Seeing no other questions, we'll move into the roll call vote, please.
Bell,
Yes.
Buffer,
Yes.
DeBerry. Yes. Gillum,
Yes.
Grantham,
Yes.
Hensley,
Yes.
Jenkins,
Yes.
Lake,
Yes.
Lanier,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Pope,
Yes.
Sane,
Yes.
Vickers,
Yes.
Wing,
Yes.
Wright.
Yes.
All right, motion passes for our first reading. Going to, our next item, I know everyone is, wanting to discuss on this. Our lawyer is not here tonight. We did have mediation today. And, myself, Commissioner Sane, and, Commissioner Bufford, and Commissioner Jenkins were in attendance as well. And, there were, a lot of facts brought out, and I will say this, it is, we all want this resolved, and we've heard comments tonight, we all hear this from the public wherever we go, we want it resolved to the best for the citizens, and we're all tired of paying these, legal fees, and believe me, they're astronomical, and we've called for this to be resolved many times, but, are there any comments, Commissioner Sane? Like to address on that today?
No, other than, I can say, and I think, Commissioner Buffer and Commissioner Jenkins will agree, we feel like we made a good faith effort to settle this today, but it didn't happen.
So is it not, is it done, or y'all gonna make it tomorrow, or is it over?
Today's negotiation was on the dispatchers only. And, tomorrow was gonna be on, I think it was 24 that they separated out. And because we couldn't make any progress, with the other side on the dispatchers, we chose not to go back anymore. Because that would just incur a lot of costs for the county. Didn't appear that we were getting anywhere.
We did leave the offer on the table for 10 days, and, because there was some more negotiations between another counselor as well, and the same dispatcher on another issue. And that was from some more claims, but we weren't involved in that. So that offer was on the table for 10 days, and we thought we'd do that as well. And I don't mind telling you the offer, full transparency, it was $180,000 for the certain class. It was a small class. And, so we're hoping that they will negotiate on different, on the topic and on the numbers. And
Mayor, I'd like to say, what I was supposed to say, but certainly not. The $180,000 offer that we made was double what our labor experts said that we owed. The $180,000 we offered was double what our experts said we owed. Well, there were other factors.
But we've left that on the table, and the lawyers will go back and forth, I'm sure negotiate a little bit more. You know, we all want to resolve, you know. There's a disparity between the numbers, you know. So there's a lot of facts in this case, a lot of moving parts. It's not just one simple idea. And I'm sure we all say we want to resolve, but there's a lot of moving parts on the times and the different things that they have to add up and calculate. So hopefully we get it resolved. We've been saying that. It's still on the table, and we'll see what holds in the next few days. Any questions, or would y'all like to address anything? All right, is there any other business that needs to be brought up to talk about?
I move we adjourn.
And we have a motion to adjourn.
Second.